Hey there everyone, this is Yahcna, the queen of vegan soul food, and I have an interesting recipe for you today. Now if you're like me and you have an event coming up where you need a cake for about 20 people and you're having trouble trying to find a vegan recipe online that you can double up, then I have the ingredients just for you today. Because if you try to go to different websites and find a vegan vanilla cake or a vegan chocolate cake that's big enough to feed that many people, if you try to double up the ingredients, it can turn into a disaster. So this is for you. Also, if you're not necessarily vegan and you just want to avoid pork byproducts and red 40 and just different funny things like that are in standard cakes that you can buy at bakeries, then this recipe is for you. Also, if you don't have it in your budget to pay a vegan baker and you just want to know what's in the ingredients and you just want to bake a cake maybe for a hobby or just for the love of it, then this is for you. Now, if you usually get like a celebration cake for a wedding or anything like that, they use fondant, which usually has like the pork byproducts in it or just different animal byproducts. So we're not going to use fondant. If you want to have like a fondant cake or anything like that, then you can use marzipan, but we're not going to be working with that. This is a basic vegan sheet cake today, okay, just to get you started. And it's going to be pretty, so don't worry. For amateurs. Now, if you've seen my vegan cake preparation video, then you will know just what to do, and I will have the link in the info box. But just in case you didn't, I'm going to quickly do this for you. First, I have some parchment paper, or you can use wax paper, cut into the shape of my pan, which is going to line the bottom. By the way, this is a 9 by 13 by 2 inch pan. But before I put this in there, I'm going to slather on some non-hydrogenated vegetable shortening. Or if you don't have that, you can just use Pam or any non-stick cooking spray that is vegan friendly. So you can see what I'm doing. It's almost like coloring a picture or something, or like painting. I love baking cakes. It's art to me. Now, I messed up a lot of cakes too in the process of finding a good vegan cake. So I don't want to give you anything that's going to be embarrassing if you're going to be feeding up to about at least 15 people. So I'm going to do the best to give you the best vegan cake that you can get. Also, let me add that when you're baking a lot of vegan cakes and you're using vegan friendly vanilla extract and almond extract, they'll usually be the color brown. And usually when you're using those type of extracts, they're going to make your cake look brown. So it's not going to look like a white cake the way you always get it. So this time I'm not going to use it in there. I'm going to be using vegan vanilla almond milk. Okay, kind of skim some of this off because I don't need all of that. Another note is make sure that your ingredients are room temperature when it's time to use. You don't want to have like some stiff cold margarine or stiff cold vegetable shortening. You want everything to kind of be creamy on down to the baking soda when you're mixing your cake. Now I'm going to put my paper in. I'm going to sit it in there. That way when I begin to make the cake batter, I don't have to let the cake batter sit while I'm prepping my pan, because the longer you wait to put your cake batter in the oven, then the more chances you are going to mess up something. Okay, now I'm going to take some of my leftover shortening and just going to lightly put it on the pan. And we are good to go with pan preparation. Now we're going to start with our wet ingredients. And to save time also and to not bore the heck out of you, I'm going to start putting the recipes and the steps in the info box to make it easier for you if you ever need to come back to the recipe. So first of all, like I said, we're going to start with all of our wet ingredients. We're going to be using 2 cups of distilled or purified water. I never recommend using tap water for many reasons. My cup of vanilla almond milk. Shake this up before I use it. The vanilla almond milk makes the batter extra sweeter, and it will also save you from having to use brown vanilla extract that will darken your cake color. This part is optional. I'm using a cup of veganese, and I'm using a soy-free veganese. It makes the cake creamier, or you can use a tofutti sour cream if you don't mind using soy. If you don't use the veganese or a sour cream, then just go ahead and add an extra cup of milk. Plop that on down in there. I'm going to start stirring this as I begin to add 1 1/3 cups of oil or vegan butter. It's always good to have some type of rubber spatula so you can scoop extra ingredients that stay stuck in your measuring cups. Now, many people would think that if you're using vegan sugar that it will go with the dry ingredients, but actually it goes with the wet ingredients. And we will be using 4 cups of the sugar. I wouldn't chance using agave because it may change the whole texture. I did it one time and the cake came out kind of dry. So an agave cake is an agave cake, and a dry sweetener cake is a dry sweetener cake. So don't try to do these sweeteners interchangeably. Use a dry granulated sweetener. Continue stirring, and now I'm going to add, I'll have the oil left. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons, of white distilled vinegar. Now I like to use the white distilled vinegar instead of the apple cider vinegar in this recipe because it seems like it's stronger than the apple cider vinegar. Okay, so that's 4 tablespoons. Now I have a clear colored almond extract. I couldn't find a clear vanilla extract that's vegan friendly necessarily, so I'm going to use 4 tablespoons of the almond extract. See how clear it is, like water? 1, 2, 3. It uses the whole bottle. 4. Like I say, the vanilla will be in the almond milk, so don't worry. You're going to still get that vanilla taste if you really want it. I'm going to stir this around a little bit. I'm hand mixing today, everyone. I'm missing a mixing blade, so we're going to do this old-fashioned. Now this seems very watery, but don't worry. We're about to add the dry ingredients. Another tip is wait until the very last moment to add any baking sodas or baking powders or anything like that. In this recipe, we're going to just use baking soda. Now I'm going to add 6 cups of pastry flour. Alright, this will take up a whole bag if you're using the Whole Foods whole wheat pastry flour, which comes in the 2-pound bag. We're going to stir this a little bit. Kind of incorporate that flour into there. And then we'll add our salt and our baking soda. Now keep in mind, you don't want your mixture to be too doughy because then your cake won't come out moist. Okay, add my 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 4 teaspoons of baking soda. Just keep mixing. I hope you have a stand mixer or a hand mixer. If you just want the arm exercise, you can go ahead and do it like I'm doing it. And whip this around. We're not going to over stir it because this is wheat. Okay, now we're going to add our batter to our pan. Get my rubber spatula.